Where does quilting start? Fabric, of course. Let's talk fabric today. Hi, I'm Roberta from Quilt Crafters Corner, and today we're going to talk about fabric. Stick around at the end and I'll take you over to the cutting table and show you how I audition fabrics when I'm putting something together. This is a great chance to see some really different and unique fabrics. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. That really helps me out and I appreciate it. So let's talk about fabric today. Where do you get fabric? Do you just go to the store and buy it? Well, there's many places that you can get it, and I have come across fabric in many different ways, not only from manufacturers but also from estate sales. You know, somebody else's stash that they didn't get to use up. It's a great place to find really nice fabric. Yes, it may be a little bit older, but it's still good and it still works just as well. I saw something and I can't remember quite what the numbers were, but it was staggering to me, the amount of purchased fabric that never gets used. I don't know about you, but I'd like to get my hands on some. So let's talk about that mindset of a quilter. Where do you go to get your fabric? Do you wait till you decide on a project and do you go buy it? Or do you see something that you like and go, ooh, I have to have that? Now, when I see something like that, it's a minimum of 3 yards. I always get 3 yards because I don't know what I'm going to use it for, and it may not be around when I finally do. So I want to make sure I have bought enough of it. And usually the ones that I have found that I just love and can't live without, I usually use those right away. So these are just some of the things that I have or I have done. Now, estate sales are a great place to pick up fabric. You know, call the estate auction houses in your area. You can find many places that have quilters that, you know, are getting rid of their stash. It's a great way to find them. So don't think, you know, oh, I have to go buy it at the fabric store, you know, especially if you're just starting out and you haven't built a stash. I know my stash is kept in plastic storage bins underneath my cutting table so that I can kind of see what's there. I have it sorted into different, you know, whether it's fat quarters or if it's scraps or even if it is truly yardage, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yards. It's all very neatly and organized in my bins so that I know, oh, I need 3 yards for this, and I'll pull that bin out and I have it there. So I have a friend who has 2 rooms, 2 bedrooms of her house that has fabric in it. And she just stores her fabric that way on shelves in these rooms, and she keeps them organized in that way. So this is a great way to organize your fabric. Now, for those of you that do not have a lot of room, that you can't keep, you know, bins of fabric, you know, a chest of drawers works really well. A bookcase works even better. You know, just make sure it's out of the sun so that the sun doesn't ruin the fabric. These are just a few of the little tips that I have for you. So let's go over to the cutting table and I'm going to show you how I audition fabric when I'm putting something together. Okay, so we're at the cutting table and I want to show you how I audition fabric for when I'm going to put a quilt together. Now, I've had these blocks for a while. They're actually, I think they were in the donation bag that we received. So let's take a look at some of the fabric I pulled out of my stash in order to start this quilt. So as you can see, these bunnies here have been around for a while. So I want to use them up. I think this will make a really nice children's quilt. So the first thing I did is I wanted to use some of this green to kind of complement the green in the little squares here. So I've got that pulled out. Now I've pulled this brown only because I thought it would kind of complement the brown that's already in most of these squares. And as you can see, there's a lot of brown in here. And this is not a bad choice, but I think I have some better ones. So let's take a look at the next one. Now, because there's a little bit of a gardening theme and an outdoor theme to this, I thought this one might work because it's got some red in it to pick up the red here, and it's got the brown and the greens in it, but it just doesn't quite work with the bunnies here. So I like this fabric, but it just doesn't quite go with what I'm looking here. And you're not going to know this until you pull these out and start placing them down and getting an idea if they'll work. Now this next fabric, I was looking for something really to contrast this, just to see if it would work. It's just too much. It just shouts at you. It just does not look quite right. So for my eye, it's just a little too red and it's not orange enough. It's more orange that I've got there than red. But it was a good idea, but it was just not quite right. So that one is definitely out. Now the pineapples here, I thought, okay, this should work, because it's got the greens and it's got the yellows, but the pink is not quite, it's too pink. And it just did not strike me as something that would work. It's not bad, it's not a bad choice, but I don't think it's quite the look that I'm going for. So I think the pineapples are out. So the last one here is the green hearts. And now this one is the one that I really like the best, that seems to go with the theme of the bunnies. It's got the green. It's a little bit more, it's got a little bit of gray in it, which is bringing out the gray tones in the bunny theme. So I think this is the one that I'm going to use. I really like this one the best. So those are just a few of my fabric from my stash that I pulled out in order to put this quilt together. So I will be working on this. So if you want to stay tuned, I'm going to start working and putting this together, and you'll see it as it progresses. I'll make another couple of videos on just how this is progressing, just so you can see where I'm going with it and what my thought process is with it. So I want to thank you all if you've made it this far. I appreciate it. And until next time, keep quilting.